Whenever I started doing failure to launch episodes, there was one thing that got requested more than anything else, and that was the Dark Universe. Maybe because it was so hyped, so colossal, with so many big names involved that it seemed like a sure thing. But, as we've seen time and time again on this show, you can make Ghoulies 4, but you're not getting The Mummy 2. So this actually all started with this. But we'll get to that. And it's debatable that it actually all started with this. But we'll get to that too. For now, let's start with the official kickoff of the Dark Universe, The Mummy from 2017. It starts in 1127 AD, and why is it lately that every video that I do that isn't a timeline puts the date up on the screen? But then it quickly bounces to the present day, and a tomb is unearthed, and Bud White is here, and we get some backstory about an ancient princess named Amenet, who made a pact with Set to give her this real challenge to fit contact lenses with, and she's mummified alive. Meanwhile, there's treasure hunters Frank T.J. Mackey and Peter B. Parker, and they head into a different unearthed tomb. And there's spiders here, and they retrieve Amenet's sarcophagus. Vale becomes a zombie, and birds attack, crashing the plane with only Halsey surviving, but Nick's death doesn't stick, of course. And can we criticize this lazy mortician? Like, I get that they don't know his name or whatever, but you can't fill out the rest of the card? You can clearly see what sex he is. Just put that down. His race is pretty obvious. And come on, mortician. You're so bad at your job, you didn't even fill out your own name. Seriously, no wonder this didn't become a series. Oh, and for the one or two commenters that will give me grief for coming down on a movie because of this, it's just a joke. I'm not seriously evaluating this film's franchise potential based on an unfilled out toe tag. But I kinda am. Amenet is revived, draining some peeps to restore herself, and Vale's ghost is haunting Nick, and much like the Brendan Fraser version, the mummy only looks like a classic mummy for like 5 minutes before being fully restored. And maybe that's why this didn't become a series. When was the last time we had a mummy movie that actually had a mummy in it? Nick and Jenny end up captured by a mysterious group who collect Easter eggs like creature hands and Dracula skulls, and it's Maximus's place, and he's Dr. Jekyll, and they have captured Amun, but Hyde comes out to play, and the Book of Amun-Ra makes a cameo, and the Mums escapes. She gets the dagger she needs to resurrect Set in Nick's body, which he ends up using on himself, but he's able to overcome it and drain Amenet of life, and reviving a dead Jenny. Nick, now half human and half death god, sets off to find himself after reviving Vale, while Jekyll hints at more adventures. So, where did it all go wrong? What happened to the Dark Universe? I mean, they made a logo for it and everything. First of all, what even was the Dark Universe? Well, it's the Universal Monsters, of course. They were the original cinematic universe, and it was decided that since interconnected film characters were a thing, maybe it was time to bring them back. They started planning it back in 2014 with Dracula Untold, with the intentions of having the Charles Dance character in that one be the Nick Fury link between it and other monster movies. And they even did reshoots to include a scene in which Dracula appears in the modern day. But even though it was somewhat of a success, the critical and audience consensus of the film was lackluster, and the excitement for a sequel kind of faded. So, a few years later, when Universal announced plans to do the Dark Universe series and have an interconnected monster universe, they completely ignored it and established The Mummy as the first film. So, then, in 2017, after announcing The Mummy, they unveiled their plans for the new series, laying out several future projects. Those included Bill Condon directing a new version of Bride of Frankenstein and released a group photo that included Johnny Depp and Javier Bardem. They were intended to play Frankenstein and the Invisible Man, and they also promised new versions of the creature from the Black Lagoon, Dracula, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the Phantom of the Opera. Everything seemed to be falling into place. The first cracks in the tapestry started when they released a trailer for The Mummy that inexplicably was missing a large chunk of the audio tracks, including the sound effects and music, so all that was left was Tom Cruise yelling into a void.
What the hell?
It was hilarious, the little woo that she makes when they suck her out of the plane. But it was a bad sign for the movie that people associated it with a joke and weren't taking it seriously. They pulled it down pretty quickly and issued DMCA takedowns to try to stop it from spreading, but it was way too late. Then, to make matters worse, critics tore it to shreds. Rotten Tomatoes showed a 16% approval rate, with most calling it incomprehensible, the worst film of Tom Cruise's career, which like, come on, had they not seen Night and Day? I mean, hey, it was night with a K. Get it? They also called it a mess, a mishmash of tones, and this one with a word I'm unfamiliar with, calling it a rag bag of action scenes. Enthusiasm quickly dropped, and it showed at the theaters. With a price tag of between $150 to $200 million, it would need to have a huge haul, and yet it didn't even manage to land the top spot. It opened at a mere $31 million, behind Wonder Woman, which was in its second weekend. It then dropped by over 50% in its second weekend, taking in $14 million more, and finished its domestic run at around $80 million. Worldwide, it fared a touch better, making a combined total of $410 million, but due to marketing costs, it's estimated that the film actually lost around $60 to $100 million. To add insult to injury, it was nominated for 8 Razzies, and Cruise won one for Worst Actor. And all of that combined made the future of the Dark Universe look, well, dark. Very soon after, Universal basically dropped any future plans for the series, and Alex Kurtzman, who had been considered the sort of showrunner for the universe, said that he wasn't sure if he would continue with it, and not long after that, formally exited it. The Bride of Frankenstein, which had previously been slated to release in February of 2019, was removed from the schedule, but sort of remained in development. Back in 2020, they were still trying to get that one going with Angelina Jolie in the title role, but with Condon no longer attached, and now considered to be a standalone film. The last nail in the coffin of the franchise was the 2020 version of The Invisible Man, which was one of the properties considered to be a part of the Dark Universe imprint, but was instead produced by Blumhouse and was considered a standalone feature, not connected to anything else, especially not The Mummy. Now, there may be follow-ups and ties into that film, but it will not be a part of the Dark Universe, definitively drawing it to a close. So there you have it. It's just one movie, will not be more. I can see them trying this again in the future, of trying to do the Universal monsters as an interconnected thing. I could see that happening, but not this way. Certainly not with Tom Cruise and The Mummy that doesn't have a mummy in it. Give me a mummy movie. Like, I kind of had enough of these mummy movies where there's not a dude wrapped up in bandages coming at you menacingly. Can we get back to that, please? I would appreciate it. But if you enjoyed this movie, the Tom Cruise one, let me know. If you would prefer the Brendan Fraser version, which I know I do, let me know. If you actually would have liked to have seen more of the Dark Universe and what you would like to see, and put that down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, click on that like button. If you want to see more of this channel, see more failure to launches, just more whatever, click that subscribe button as well. And if you want to help support the channel, go to patreon.com/movietimelines and help to kick some funds over. These guys over here do, and they're awesome for doing it. Thank you very much. But I also just thank you for watching the video, and keep on doing that because there's another one coming at you very soon. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.